To all of you all out there, welcome to the OLAB podcast with Dr. Deeawn Roundtree.
Oh, thank you, Joel. It's a pleasure to be here on this podcast with you. It was awesome working with you and working with some of your clients in Riviera Beach not long ago. I guess it's been over a year now, 2 years maybe,
Yeah.
when you
Oh,
had the
since the
program,
yes,
in the
yes.
summer. So time is flying because I'm grateful that you and we have such synergy, and I'm grateful that you always include me. You always think about how I can be a part of your initiative. And I think you said something so valuable just now when it comes to relationships. And I think for some reason, and I'm not sure why, I don't know if it's just because I just had a birthday.
Happy
And
birthday.
thank you. It was June 11th. And for some reason, around on my birthday, and right after the day after my birthday, I was hearing from some of my childhood friends.
Mm.
They were calling me, like they've never called me necessarily. They may have posted something on Facebook or text me, but at least four of them contacted me directly on the phone this year. Excuse me. And I thought that hearing from each of them, it was so timely because I was really missing my childhood friends.
Mm.
And these are all female friends who I grew up with in some way as a young adult. And even one we've been friends since high school. And to be able to talk to them this year, and again, I don't know why this year was the year that I heard from four of them in a row, that it really made me cherish
Mm.
genuine friendships.
Mm.
Um, I remember before I started my business full time, I remember praying to the Lord and I said, Lord, I want to build my friendships and my relationships through business.
Mm.
And that's exactly what has happened. I have some of the most cherished friendships as a result of my business.
Mm.
And at the same time, I have such cherished relationships even from before I was in business, growing up. And it just makes me realize how valuable, true, authentic relationships are. And what makes it so valuable is that you realize that not everyone is really for you.
Mm.
And it comes out in some of the most bizarre ways. But it's as if the Lord is saying, that's not for you, or he's not for you, or she's not for you. And all along, I thought they were. I think when it comes to people and friendships, because I love people, just a natural it's part of my personality. I just love people. I just love connecting with people because I feel like we're all going through something, and I feel like we all need love more now than ever in the history of our country, at least in my lifetime. And I believe God is just teaching me the value of genuine, true friendships and relationships, and teaching me about people who really are for you, and realizing that not everyone is,
Mm.
which can be disappointing, but it's also enlightening. And there's gratitude that you now realize it. And some, I was surprised that they weren't really for me because I thought we had been friends forever. And others, I felt like God was warning me all along, and it showed itself.
Mm.
And I think being a leadership trainer and a coach and a speaker, where all I'm talking about is relationships and cultivating them, especially in business and in the workplace. That has just given me a renewed appreciation for true friendships and for people who truly are for you and who value, who want to see you be successful. And it's rare, because we get a lot of people when you're out and about, you're on, social media, and, you've written a couple books, and, people, they start knowing who you are locally and maybe even beyond. People start feeling like they know you, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't know this person's name, or they're so kind to me. They hug you and treat you like they've known you forever, but you don't know them. Um, and I don't know if it's because I'm chronologically maturing, but I just feel like in this season of my life, the Lord has really been showing me the hearts of people and teaching me to accept it. It's not to judge it, it's to be aware, and it's also to be wise. Wise as a serpent and innocent as a dove. And I feel like in this season of my life, and especially this year, that's what the Lord has been doing with, dealing with me in regards to my relationships.
Yeah. There's so much in that. There's so much in that. I mean, wow, talk about an opening statement.
Mm.
I told you she really has you really have the ability to just like go there, and maybe that is just like our relationship and the pre-conversation, everything else, where we can just kind of settle right into like the thick of it, if you will, because this is a very I believe it's a conversation that can go extremely deep, right? This isn't a surface level conversation when you start to talk about relationships and when you start to view the relationships as what they are. No mask allowed.
Amen.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, and I think that you spoke about that on one occasion during one of your workshops. You were also talking about the mask.
Yes.
And I definitely have a perspective about, wearing the mask as well. But I have never found you to be that type of individual who shows up with the mask on. And I think that that's really important, especially for me in this stage of my life.
Yeah.
And that's because I know that I was a guy who wore a mask for a long time. And I think when I first met you, I was going through the phase of like, okay, I'm no longer going to wear a mask. And it came down to hold on. Who is Joel?
Yeah.
Like, who exactly am I?
Yes.
Because I'm willing to take this mask off, but I don't really know who I am. Like, is it the fire department guy? Is it the church guy who's, the preacher? Is it the father? Is it the husband? Is it the guy that shows up with everybody else, when I go play basketball? Is it the guy that shows up at my wife's family's house? Like, who is that guy? And getting to that was super important for me. So I feel that now that I am who I am, which is a huge declaration, right? I mean, that is really stating, I am my father's son. Then it gives me the opportunity to really see other people for who they are. And I believe that's something that you bring to the table and you also share with many others.
Thank you.
How did you get there?
Well, it did honestly, it started with my book, my second book, Leading from Within, a faith-based perspective on leadership. I was pursuing thankfully, my second doctoral degree, and it's in ministry.
Yeah.
And I was taking, various classes and learning about Christianity and its history. And, when I read the Bible, it was just this self-awareness that I'm reading the Bible so that I can understand what God wants me to do and how he wants me to live my life. But I wasn't reading it necessarily for what it was as far as the stories. And for some reason, because we were delving deep into the history of Christianity, we were learning and about the wars and the killings that Christians were having with each other. And they were literally killing each other just because they had a different perspective about what God's word says. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. Christians are killing each other. This isn't Jews and Christians or Muslims and Christians. This is Christian and Christians killing each other because they interpret the Bible in a different way. And it impacted me so much, so greatly. It was like I never knew this before. And I may have heard it, preacher probably preached about it, but it didn't hit me until I was taking this course and other courses. And I was having a conversation with the Lord. I'm like, well, Lord, if Christians are killing each other, who can be saved? We're killing we are killing each other over your word. Because we might see it differently. Mm-hmm. We're going to war, to death. And as a Christian at the age of 15, I wanted to be perfect. And I'm a perfectionist by nature. It's part of my DNA, my personality. I want things to be perfect. And boy, it went to a whole nother level when I became a mom. I wanted the world to be perfect because I didn't want him to suffer. And I want everyone to be good and be nice to him. And I didn't, when you hear children being abused and, just some of the heinous crimes that go on in this world, especially against children, that was a whole other phenomenon that I was going through when I was becoming a mom. But it's something about these classes, it made me realize for the first time that I cannot be perfect. And no one can be perfect. And it was as if I just finally accepted it. Because in my mind, growing up as a Christian, all these years going to church, I always took away from the pastor or teacher, whoever was leading a class or preaching in the pulpit, I always took back in some way. My interpretation was that I had to be perfect. And I could be perfect. Why? Because I have the Holy Spirit living on the inside of me. And I was exhausted. I was so burnt out from trying, thinking I could, condemning myself because I realized I couldn't. Until I finally let myself off the hook. I finally gave myself the grace and the acceptance to be imperfect, yet accepted, forgiven, and loved by God. And that was a rude awakening. And it really inspired me to write this book, which really focuses on grace and mercy and forgiveness and compassion and kindness and letting people off the hook. Because if you look in my life, if I looked in your life, behind closed doors, beyond the mask, I just did the leadership conference in May 16th with Dr. Dennis Kimbrough called Unmask, Authentic Leadership for a Higher Calling. If you look behind the mask of each of us, human being, Christian or not, we are all suffering and going through something in some way. And if we're all going through something in some way, if we're all hurting for some reason or some circumstance in our life that's beyond our control, then we should be so much more intentional about loving one another and giving each other grace and acceptance and being genuine and authentic in our relationships. You know, I growing up, I felt like I had to be perfect. My parents, they were trying to raise us to be a certain type of way. You go to school, your teachers are, they're forming your mindset and your personality to be a certain type of way to get A's, right? Everywhere we go, we're striving to be number one, getting the A's, being successful, displaying that, it's like we feel like we have to prove God when he doesn't need our help, really. He is who he is. And he accepts us as we are. But it caused me to have, when I finally realized it for myself and accepted it for myself, it caused my intimacy with God to become greater.
Mm.
And it caused my love for others to be easier because it wasn't based on superficial reasons or something that had to be conditional. You do this and I'll do this. Transactional.
Transactional.
And when you can authentically, sincerely, and genuinely love and accept other people, whether they're in the workplace, in the marketplace, church, wherever you go, if you can genuinely love and authentically love people, it makes people feel like they're okay. They feel like they can relate to you. They feel like they don't have to be something other than who they are. And I think we're all, in some ways, you look at TV and all the things that are on television now. Sometimes it's so hard to find something positive, but it's like people are they're falling apart. They're just losing it, some of them. And, I'm sure there's many reasons why that is. But I feel like people are really being bold and courageous and finally saying, I'm not okay. I'm not okay. And I appreciate people who are authentic and real and honest about who they are. And being able to share my journey through my book and to teach and train others to be self-aware. You can't accept yourself if you don't know who you are. Like you said, who am I? I'm playing roles, but who am I deeply? And once people come to an awareness of who they are, they become emotionally intelligent and they become authentic. And God uses authenticity. I don't think he likes fake, phony people who pretend that they're perfect for his sake. I don't think Jesus paid it all. He created the mold. He is the mold. No one else can fill it. And we don't have to. And I think that really has helped me to, all these years to finally accept and love the skin I am in and not try to be somebody else. And I think we all need that. We all need this, I'm okay as I am. And anything that others can't accept or like or want to fix, you know what, give that to God. Pray for them. Some people got issues. Guess what? I do too. And if you see an issue, instead of talking about me and judging me and looking down on me and backbiting and scheming, pray for me as I will pray for you because you need it too. And it just keeps us on a level playing field instead of competing and looking down on each other. And I think we're just in a time in our lives and in history where it is time to remove the mask. It's time to become more self-aware, to be emotionally intelligent, to accept others, to have compassion for others, because people are going through. And we would never know. We look at people and we think they're just fine. They're not. They're not fine. Some people are on the brink of committing suicide,
Mm.
of harming someone else. And if you and I can be, especially quote unquote as Christians, I don't care if you are or not, if we can be that catalyst of love, of grace, of mercy, compassion, and forgiveness, that's what's going to pull that person from jumping off that bridge or from harming themselves or maybe harming someone else. Instead of competing and fighting all the time and trying to one up. I mean, people, I believe, who have to be better than someone else to feel good about themselves. It's low self-esteem because it's based on superficial and external stimuli. It's not based on who you are from within. Because when it comes from that confidence, insight comes from the inside, there's no need to compete. Because we all have different thumbprints. My thumbprint's different than yours. I don't want to be you. I don't even want to be like you. Now, you might inspire me, and you might help me to see things a different way, but I like who I am. I love who I am. And when we genuinely love and accept ourselves, then we can fulfill that commandment to love others.
Mm.
We're struggling loving ourselves because we keep comparing ourselves to everybody else on social media or wherever.
Deeawn, that was a lot. that was a lot. That was a lot. That was so good. So good. You know, I have a multitude of things that I like to converse just within the realm of what you're discussing. One thing that hangs on my mind, and I wanted to offer this in like a conversational piece, right? Oh, by the way, this is our sponsor, Royalty Sublime Spring Water. I wanted to make sure I poured some, and I heard you cough. So
Thank you. It's good too. Like it. Very nice. Not too fizzy.
awesome,
Nice and
awesome.
smooth.
Yeah, that's it's all the way from the Pearl Mountains of Africa.
Oh, wow. I like that.
Yeah,
Like
beautiful bottle.
Mhm.
So we'll give you one to take home
Oh,
with you.
thank you. I
All right.
appreciate that. Thank you. Sublime. I like that name.
Line, yeah. So I, I had thought about the word perfect, and I thought about it because there's always been like this conversation: can we be perfect? Can't we be
Yeah.
perfect? And then there's like those scriptural references to be perfect, and I wanted to offer this for discussion.
Mhm.
I came to a conclusion that perfection was in the eyes of God and not in the eyes of ourselves. Like, if I say that I am perfect based on the merits that I give myself,
Yeah.
then it's like self-validation or even self-righteousness.
Yes.
But if I become perfect in the eyesight of God, which maybe I'll find out while I'm alive, maybe I won't, then it's in his hands. Like
Yeah.
David, you remember like the saying about David, or like Job and how there's like this shout out. And then you look at the life.
Yes.
And you're like, oh my gosh.
Right.
That what you call perfect right there?
Exactly.
Okay. So then I hear what you're saying about this true authenticity, which the true authenticity being, and I love that you reference this because, and I'm today, or this entire week, I was going back into the books that you've given me, and I'm so glad I got a chance to get you to sign one of them, and just looking at, how you've just really positioned your words to be open and lightly touching but very true.
Mm.
There's not filler inside of your books. There's just your message is there, and so I was looking at that because I had come up with a few questions that I was going to ask you, but the conversation is so fluid, and the authenticity on the inside, when that happens, you linked these words together. You said when we become authentic to ourselves, that's when like the emergence of EQ begins to really happen. It's like it's there inside of everybody. Emotional intelligence is there,
Yeah.
which is for the last decade or so has been on the rise. Everybody needs to go to an EQ conference and
Right.
learn something because it's really the way to go. But I mean, emotional intelligence has been around for a long time, 20, almost 30 years, really, since they started talking about it in certain groups. And
Yeah.
we were talking about Dale Carnegie earlier. So I just love that because that emergence of EQ and that authenticity and being able to step inside of the room with love for yourself and being forgiving of self gives you the exposure to really meet people where they are
Yeah.
without force.
Yes.
And I don't know if that's always been your talent. I don't know because I've known you for maybe 5 years now, which is wow, maybe 5, 6
Yeah.
years, somewhere right in between there.
Sure.
But what I have learned is that every single time I speak with you, it's the same person that I met back then.
Thank you.
And so the conversation that I had with you then about you being authentic and about you showing up the same way and about you being helpful to me and loving to me and how I felt as if you really meant good to me has never changed.
Thank you.
And so, and I find that in your work as well. So I'm not here to say Deeawn is perfect, but
I wish.
you're a brilliant masterpiece.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that, Joel. You are too.
Thank you.
I mean, it's been great, honestly, like you said, we've both been in, I know for me, it's been full-time entrepreneurship for over 5 years. And that's when, we met during this entrepreneurial journey. And I think too, it lends itself to, being faith-based leaders, that this entrepreneurial journey is such a walk of faith and it's so humbling, because we have to depend on God for everything. I mean, I did before, but when you're getting a paycheck every 2 weeks, you're like,
Talk about it
okay.
now. Come on. Let's get into the real. Look, I'm moving the microphone closer because I'm like, yes.
You can relax a little bit, but as an entrepreneur, it's constantly on your mind. And I know for me, I'm always trying to balance. Well, Lord, I know I have to depend on you for everything, but I feel like I have to depend on you even more so now. And it's not coming the way I think it should, so am I missing something? Was it really your will for me to quit my job in 2021 and take this leap of faith? And I feel like this whole entrepreneurial journey, it's very humbling. I can honestly, unfortunately, see why some people become desperate and make decisions that survival of the fittest. They're going to harm you before you harm them. I mean, I can see why if you don't have Christ in your heart, if you're not depending on him for your next client,
I love that you're so unapologetic. I love that. I love that because it's just like you're speaking and there's no hesitation. It's just like unapologetic. Breath of fresh air right here. I mean,
thank you.
please continue. But I mean, people need to understand that. Like, you are unapologetically following Christ and put Christ inside of your life. And it's like, I'm not going to pause to say if you think about the universe or if you think
No.
about energy or whatever you
Right,
call.
right.
It's just, this is me, and either accept it or, whatever you got. But
Yeah.
I just love that you show up, and this is
Thank
that
you.
authenticity. This is that leading from within right there that you're referring to. So I'm sorry. I'm not sorry that I broke in.
No, that's okay.
But I
I
don't want you to
appreciate that.
lose your thought. But I felt like that deserves the pause. I mean, to
Yeah.
me, in my life and following with Christ, that's a mic drop. That's a gem. And somebody out there needs to pick that up. And even if they shut this thing off now, take that home and just go and sit with that
Yeah.
for a little while.
Thank you, Joel. I'm so grateful you said that. You know why? Because I honestly, when I first became a Christian, when I first asked Jesus Christ to come into my heart, I was going through a lot of turmoil in my life as a young teenager. And I remember always worrying about what other people thought. And that lends to my personality style. I always wanted to please, always wanted to be liked and approved and validated and affirmed, all those kinds of things. And I remember the Lord, telling me point blank, period, if you're ashamed of me before men, then I'm going to be ashamed of you. Well, I only need to hear that one time. And God forbid that I be ashamed of him, number one, since he died on the cross for my sinful human being. And the only way that I believe, the only way that I believe that I can see him and have eternal life is through him. How dare I be ashamed or afraid to tell people who I am? But what I love about God as well is that he allows us to make that choice. He's not hung up on all these other religions and what other people believe. It's a choice that we make. That's a choice. So we can choose as Christians to shy away and, like you said, to be politically correct. And I think there's a place for that, and you have to respect other people's faith. You have to allow them to find their own way in their own journey. One of the things I honestly believe, and I've visited so many different churches, whether they were Jehovah's Witness or a synagogue or Pentecostal, Baptist, Episcopal. I've been to a lot of different faiths, Protestant and Catholic and beyond. And I have felt the presence of God in each of those environments. So who am I to judge someone else's beliefs and faiths? The day will come, God has enough power to prove himself. But what he has given me as my assignment, to love. And let that speak for itself. All the debates we have within the church among each other as Christians, all the competition and fighting we're having in this country, in the world, because of our different beliefs, it's not in alignment with who God is. We don't have to fight because we believe you should wear this or don't do that or go here or don't do the Bible. We don't, number one, we're so fallible. We don't know. We don't even know what we don't know. We think we know, but we don't know. He said the greatest commandment is to love, not to point out. When he said you got a big old boulder in your eye, how are you going to point out someone else's sin when you're messed up too? So that keeps the focus, that keeps the praise, that keeps the honor, that keeps the glory with who deserves it. And it's not me. It's only him. So how dare I not share my faith, It's who I am. It's not what I do. It's who I am. And it's been cultivated for many years. I'm not 15 anymore. So it's been trial and error. It's been making mistakes. It's, asking God why, help me to understand. It's being obedient. It's being disobedient. And it's learning from my mistakes. And I think we're all trying to figure it out. And we're still figuring it out. And we don't all have the answer. So I think we got to be careful on how we treat others, how we condemn others, how we judge others, how we point the finger at others and say, you're wrong. How do you know? You're wrong. He said, judge not so. You're judging me? Guess what? You're wrong. We're all wrong. So we have to stop, because I feel like the humanity, I just feel like we're just so broken. And I feel like we as Christians, we're killing our wounded. We're just killing each other. And don't get me on race. As Black people, we're killing each other. And we have to unify, not just for our race, for everybody else too. If we love each other as a race and everyone else loves themselves as their race, it'll be easier to love everyone and realize we're so much alike, even in spite of our cultural, racial differences, even in spite of the way we think. We're still a lot alike as well. But we have a maker. We have a God who has decided and chose us to be here for himself. And we can choose to accept him or not. He said, it's up to you. But I also know that he's in control and he's sovereign. And even though we think we got a choice, he knew before we were even born what road we were going to take. And that causes a reverential fear of him. I'm not playing with him. I'm not going to be bashful about him. I'm not going to be shy. I'm not going to be ashamed of who he is. Because he can kill me. What did he say? Don't be afraid of the one who can kill the flesh. Fear the one who can kill the flesh and put the soul in hell. That's who I fear. So what man thinks and does to me, that's on them. That's them. They're going to have to answer. But I'm going to stay focused on the Lord. Not because I'm perfect, but because I'm not. Because I'm not perfect. My perfection comes from Christ. That's it. I have nothing to brag about but Christ. That's what he told us to do. Brag about what I did, not who you are. So what, you got 4 degrees, so? So what, you came from the projects and now you're living in a better standard of living. I can take it away like that. So what? It's not about us. We're here for him. Whether we agree or not, one day we're going to answer to him. So that makes all this other stuff so temporary. It's temporal.
That's so good. That's so good. Yeah. I thought about Martin Luther King Jr. On one occasion. I have a recording somewhere, old recording of him, and he was up late at night. I think he just got back from one of the meeting, and he came back and the phone rang. And when the phone rang, he said, on the other end of that phone was an ugly voice. And he said, and the voice said to him, Negro, if you don't get out of the town and stop doing what you're doing, we're going to blow up your house. You heard that one? And he said he had to lean over his table. He had poured himself some coffee. He said he had to get real with Jesus that day because he couldn't call on his father. He couldn't call on his mother. Everybody was gone, and his wife was asleep, and his little baby girl was asleep. And so he was just alone. He had to check in for real, right? And I recall him speaking, and he said, I get discouraged sometimes And he said, even from Negroes, I'd get discouraged. And he said a bunch of things, but that was the key word that came to my mind while you were talking. Maybe that's a Juneteenth type of subject right here that we're moving into in the circle of influence. And it's just that to say that, and to hear that coming from an individual who influenced me tremendously, right? It was him, my mother, and Bishop S.C. Madison. I call him Daddy, right? Those three people had influenced me in such a way that it changed my entire life, right? And to hear that, it gave me a different perspective. And I hear you talking about that perspective right now, and just like kind of like putting a little bit of salt on the meat. And it's one of those things where I've studied to a certain degree and seen one culture come into America and bind themselves together. It's like, hey, when you get there, just see cousin so-and-so. They're going to put you inside of their house and give you a job. And you're going to go down there and you're going to work at the corner store. And then they're going to build you up inside of that job. And then before you know it, they're going to open up another corner store. And you may not get that one, but you'll be the manager. Then there'll be another corner store, and that one's yours. And they just grow. And then I've also seen where a whole community is built around a creed or a religion. And the minute that someone opens up their doors for business, everybody goes and supports that business for 1 year. Every single person in that entire community goes and they support that one business for 1 year. And, you know, I think about the struggle that we as Black people have gone through. And at the end of the day, when I think about it, I think that the greater struggle, maybe, and it may be now, in the time when we have education, we have opportunity, but we don't necessarily see one another. And I think about my friend Michael Seville, who's on the other podcast that I'm on, Community Beacon, and he quoted Nipsey Hussle one time, and he said, and I want to say I think that this was Nipsey Hussle that he was quoting, if my memory serves me right. But he was talking about his music when he said, why, or his words when he said, why when a white guy walks down the street, I feel okay, but when a Black man walks down the street, I want to hold my pockets. I want to protect myself. I want to sit up straight. I want to make sure that I'm able to handle myself. And I thought to myself, oh my gosh, like there's so much truth behind that. And what I found, Dr. Deeawn, was that I have done the same thing. That I have literally walked down the street with my children or my wife or myself, and all of a sudden I felt this need to now protect myself when a Black man walked by me. And I thought to myself in a moment, I was like, oh my gosh, is that racism? It's, you know, and I didn't have that thought process before. I didn't see it. But in a moment, I thought about all of those days behind me and when that had occurred. And so, of course, I'd start to make the adjustment. And, you know, I start to look my Black brothers, hey, what's up, man? How you doing? You know, I opened myself up. I opened myself up. But I realized that that was something that somewhere along the line that got passed down into my bloodstream. And I was walking with that and did not even know it.
That's so true, because we're programmed. We've been programmed to fear each other. We've been taught to fear each other. And it's unfortunate because the people we should be able to trust, unfortunately, they've not always been trustworthy. You know, we've been hurt by the very people who look like us. And then you look at the propaganda, and you see what happens. We see these programs on television. We see what happens in, I mean, there's people, they don't want to do business with each other.
Mm.
They don't trust. They think it's subpar. They don't think it's excellent as others. And so that's why, to your point, June 19th and unity, it's our mindset.
Mm-hmm.
It's how we think about ourselves, and it's how we think about each other. Until we can get truly love ourselves first and each other, that unity, we don't have to worry about another race destroying us.
Dr. Deeawn, so I'm dating myself. The minute that you start pulling out dates, like years,
I know.
the minute you do that, it's like all of a sudden you just became that person in the room, right? It's like my mama used to do that, my dad used to do that.
Yeah.
Hey, Ma, I love you. It's like, it's okay. All right, so it was around 1998, I think it was 99, and no, I think it was 98, and I'm going through it. I just came down here into Florida, and I'm supposed to be getting myself together. I made a commitment with my mother under the heavens, and we both have talked about this extensively, how we are beyond belief. We know that God was there on that back patio, opening up the clouds and shining a beam of light onto us as we made this declaration that we're going to Florida for a new start, right? We both have gone through this many times. And as soon as I get here, I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing here. You know what? Let me go find somebody to hang out with. And of course, I find the same type of people that I left, only worse, probably. And so at some point in time, I end up locked up, right? And my mother does her magic that she does. She managed to move me from a place of being locked up to a place of, my son's an angry person or he's bipolar, and, and she moves me into this place that takes me out into the glades. And while I'm out there in the glades, I get this opportunity. It's like this awakening that I'm out there, and I realize there's so many people that are inside this building, and I am being treated like less than. And it was crazy when I stopped to think about all the different things that she had taught me and how to maneuver in this space. And I had to pull up all of those different lessons just to get myself free, because the system was like designed to just like hold me and suppress me.
Wow.
And I found myself like fighting for my freedom. And it was one of the greatest lessons that I could have ever had, because I still use that lesson to this very day. And I share it with other people, but I just kind of got...
Sounds like a book.
My book is on the way.
Oh,
It
good,
is. We're 4
good.
chapters in right
Oh,
now.
good. Congrats.
4 chapters in. But you
Congrats.
know what? That part was not inside of the book. Maybe I need to go back and I need to write
Sounds
that
like
into
it.
the book. Yeah.
Someone needs to hear it.
So, leading from within, taking off the mask, beyond the boardroom. These are 3 initiatives, 2 books, and your most recent initiative, where you went out and met with the people of Riviera Beach, your mentor, which is one of my questions out of Beyond the Boardroom. Your mentor,
Yeah.
Dr. Kimbrell. Tell me a little bit more about how you got to a mentor like that and why having a mentor is so important.
Wow. So it's been so many years. I was right out of high school and I was working. And I really didn't get any of my degrees. And, I didn't go to college the traditional route. I got all my college education as a full-time or part-time employee. And so right out of high school, I knew I was in a position where my parents didn't have the wherewithal to support me to go to college. And they were so, focused on survival that they didn't know the process of getting scholarships or grants or any of that. And so what came to my mind was I'm going to have to work full time so I can make a living. And hopefully the employer will pay for my education.
Mm.
And that's the trajectory I went on. Every employer paid for a part of my degree except for my doctorate of business. My doctorate of business, I paid for while being a professor at Lincoln University in Philadelphia. And while I was in the workplace, I knew I had this burning desire to be an entrepreneur.
Mm.
And a friend of mine told me to read Think and Grow Rich by Dr. Napoleon Hill. Loved it. Read the book. I'm like, it really motivated me. And I was sharing this with a friend of mine, and he said to me, I want you to read this one.
Mm.
And it was Think and Grow Rich, A Black Choice by Dr. Dennis Kimbrough. Well, when I read his book, at the end of the book, it was an inspirational message. And it motivated me to quit my job. I had it with corporate America. I was a messenger. Now, not the kind of messenger that carries mail, but the kind of messenger that circles invoice numbers. I started in corporate America doing that and worked my way by teaching myself how to type enough words a minute, 60 words a minute, so that I could become a secretary. Well, between being a messenger, circling invoice numbers, to becoming a secretary, making decent money, at least for me, and seeing how being a secretary was treated, I was done. I had gotten my bachelor's degree in business management. I subsequently went on and got my master's degree in professional leadership and training and development.
Mm.
I was grateful for that, grateful for the opportunity, the tuition reimbursement that the company I was working for afforded me. It was a utility company. And I said, I had it. And I felt, to your point, the way that you felt less than.
Mm.
I felt like that every day in corporate America, even from people who look like me.
Mm.
And I said, I'm done. I don't want this. I quit my job. A woman who had started her own PR firm hired me to support her, and she was floundering and her business was fledgling and just didn't work out. She didn't have the money to pay me or anything. And here I am. I'm like, oh my gosh, I have no money. What am I going to do? Well, fortunately, because I had my degree, I went ahead and got hired by American Express Financial Advisors. And in that process, I had learned about the pharmaceutical industry and how you can make money. And I had some friends who were driving these nice cars, dressed to the nines, living in these beautiful homes. I said, that is where I'm going. I'm serious. I stayed at American Express for 1 year because you needed to have 1 year of professional sales experience to even qualify to be a pharmaceutical rep. I did it for 1 year, almost to the day. Quit. I went through this 5 interviews. I went through the interviews before I quit. Went through 5 interviews with J&J, got hired, And that was my beginning. That was my way out of poverty. And I was, officially middle class then because I was ended up making six figures, winning President's Trophy, doing amazing things as a result of being a pharmaceutical sales professional. And then ended up going back to school after becoming a mom and realizing I'm a type A person and I need to put all this energy in my son now. So I ended up leaving corporate and then focusing on being a mom, stayed home for a year, then got into academia and being an adjunct professor at Lincoln. Oh my gosh, you're making peanuts. It was peanuts. But I loved it. I loved it.
Yeah.
And the business department got a whiff of my background in pharmaceutical sales and my degrees, and they decided to bring me into the business department. I was in the education department initially. And they said, hey, if you want to make money, you're going to have to go back to school and get a doctorate degree. I'm like, oh. And
So you couldn't make money having a master's?
it depends on the university. Now, most universities, you have to have a doctorate degree to be a full-time professor. And I had a master's. I could be an adjunct, but at Lincoln University, you needed to have a doctorate degree. And they encouraged me, talked, my husband into letting me go back to school.
They did the work.
They did. That's how bad they were. I love that. Still love Lincoln University, and I had a wonderful mentor there who has gone to be with the Lord since then. Dr. Judith A.W. Thomas, who actually hired me at Lincoln University to be in education, and then when the business chair found out about my sales experience and my business experience, they stole me from the education department. But it was one of the best decisions, and fell in love with being a professor because I fell in love with the students. And that inspirational side of me came out, and seeing what they were going through, because Lincoln I don't know if it still is as much, but back then it was the kind of university whose mission was to get individuals who would not otherwise be qualified to go to college to be able to go to college, because they were coming from the projects of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, where I was actually born. And here I am back in Philadelphia after all these years as a married woman and a mom, back at Lincoln University, born in Philadelphia, but now back as an adult and now teaching at Lincoln. And Lincoln would have been the HBCU I would have gone to had I went right from high school to college.
Mm-hmm.
But instead I decided to go to work and then, did it a different direction. So it's kind of interesting, to be able to give back to Lincoln University in such a powerful way, because you really felt like you just loved these, like they were your children, and they treated you like you were their mother, even though a lot of them thought I was their age, but I wasn't. But you just had this bond with them, and you wanted them to make it. And so being able to utilize all my skills and put that energy into the students and support them, and I still keep in contact with many of them today. And then to be influenced to go back to school and get my doctorate so I could make some decent money as a professor and a director. It's tremendous how that step of faith, maybe 10 years or so earlier, and taking that leap of faith because of Dr. Dennis Kimbrough's book, Think and Grow Rich, A Black Choice, that led me to, where I am even now. And then for him to be able to speak at my conference, and I met him through Jerome Hutchinson. He's the Chief Servant Officer for ICABA. It's an organization that supports Black leaders and brown leaders and really helps us to create a network. And Dr. Kimbrough is also a part of ICABA and supports Jerome. And I could not believe, after all these years, that I would have the opportunity to just meet him. I remember talking to him over Zoom, for the first time when we had the Zoom call, I said, Dr. Kimbrough, you don't know me, but you're my mentor. And telling him and every time I had an opportunity, I would tell the story about how I would read his book, Think and Grow Rich, A Black Choice, and quit my job. And then to meet him in person, and it was like we've known each other forever. He's so down to earth, so real. You would think with all of his success, he's so honest. He's so authentic. He tells you the real deal. He tells you his life story and being an entrepreneur and all that he's gone through. And it just endeared me to him even more because he made me feel like, you know what? You're not the only one going through. I've been there. Sometimes I'm still going through.
Yeah.
Still going through.
That's good.
So, to be able to have the opportunity to start a ministry, Leading from Within Ministries, back in 2024, and to have our first inaugural faith-based leadership conference May 16th, and for him to just say yes, that was like manna from heaven.
Yeah.
Because he didn't hesitate. He checked, he said, let me check my schedule. He said, let me check with my assistant, make sure it's open.
Yes.
Man, he came back, he said, yes. And it felt like manna from heaven, literally. It was like God had taken this manna in Dr. Dennis Kimbrough and gave it to me as a blessing. And he came here, and I wish the whole world could have been there. He came to West Palm Beach and spoke his assignment. We were just so aligned with our message about being authentic, about our mindsets, about being unmasked, about finding God's will and purpose for our life. I couldn't have asked for a better keynote speaker. And I told him, I said, you're going to be in my life forever.
Yes.
Forever.
And he agreed.
Oh, he agreed.
Yeah.
And not only that, to be able to pour into my 22-year-old son.
Yes.
Because my son, was there. He wasn't supposed to be there. He was supposed to be at Penn State and preparing to graduate, but realized he had to take a couple more classes because of his major change. So he was here for the conference. Couldn't have planned it. He was here for the conference. He was charged with picking Dr. Dennis Kimbrough up from the airport and taking him back to the airport.
Yes.
And Dr. Kimbrough is such a gem. He sent Matthew, my son, he sent him his books, the books that I love, the Think and Grow Rich, Black Choice, and The Wealth Choice, Success Secrets of Black Millionaires. Those two books. And he has many others, but those are the two of my favorite books. He sent those books to my son after the conference. I mean, what an amazing tribute, to God, that it was as if he said, I have been in control of your life all these years, really since you've been born. But I'm showing you, since you've been a Christian, since you are in alignment with my sovereign will. And it teaches us as Christians, as believers, even non-Christians, that we have a God who we can trust, even when it's so hard. And it's meant to be hard. Why? Because it keeps us dependent and humble before him. So we don't get the big head. That those trials keeps us humble. That hurt, that strain, oh my gosh, this conference. I told you earlier, it took me to a whole other level of faith. People turning their backs on me, people acting crazy and trying to get people to support, knowing this climate, this is a faith-based leadership conference. People are afraid to support. And yet God put strategically the right people at the right time, the people who helped, they didn't hesitate. Yes. Some of them didn't even come. They just wanted to support. They just wanted to be a part of it. They were so grateful that someone had the courage to do a faith-based leadership conference. And again, to have Dr. Dennis Kimbrough come in to pour into all of us. I feel like, you know what? If the Lord took me today or tomorrow, I'm good.
Mm.
I completed my assignment. That's how I feel. And I'm like, okay, Lord, this was wonderful. What's next? But it doesn't have to be a next. I feel so fulfilled that I completed my assignment for the Lord in this regard that I don't have to ask him for anything else.
Mm.
I just want to be in his will.
That's good. That's so good. That's
Thank
so
the Lord.
good.
Thank the Lord.
That's so good. Yeah. I mean, I feel all of that.
Mm.
All of that. And, you know, my story just feels like it just resonates
Mm.
with what you're saying and in so many ways.
Mm.
And once again, from the very beginning, it's been this way.
Mm-hmm.
It has been this way.
Yeah.
I appreciate you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Joel. Same
Yeah.
here. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
having me here.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for being here.
Mm-hmm.
So when I thought about one thing, I wanted to know what was the time frame from reading Think and Grow Rich, A Black Choice,
Yes.
to May 16th,
Oh my gosh.
2026.
Okay. It's been a long time. It's been a long time because his book was published in 1993. So from 93, somewhere around that time, till today. That's the span of time. I can't do the math because my brain's fried. But whatever that math is, that's how many years? Like 30, 40 years?
26, 29. I don't know.
I got,
It's so.
it's been a long time, Joel.
And I feel like to me that means a lot.
Mm.
I don't know if you follow Myron Golden.
I've heard of him.
So I just recall him talking about the 10 years or whatever it was. He made it. He did so well. Oh man, from trash man to cash man. He made it, and then he lost everything, everything he had. And he had to kind of just pack up everything he had. I mean, lost everything, house, everything.
Wow.
And just had to downsize and start all over again. And he talks about the years, and I remember that amongst a few other things. But when you talk about this, and I don't want it to be missed when somebody listens, I don't want this to be missed. That it wasn't 5 days. It wasn't you started your business in 2021,
Right.
and 5 years later, it
Right.
was this.
No.
But that it was the constant movement towards a worthy goal, right?
Yes. Big
Yeah.
time.
And Jim Rohn had quoted that statement right there, ideal goal. And so it's like when I look at you and I think of it, like I said, there's a lot of influence. There's a lot of your personality, your demeanor, the way you work, your authenticity, your love, your compassion. So all of these things are very important to me, especially me being a man that was raised predominantly by my mother.
Yeah.
Right. So I inherently have this empathy reading that is just really high. Right.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things that I had to learn myself, and walking as a man in this world that I had to just kind of learn these things,
Yeah.
how exactly do you do these things, because I would go way far to the left or way far to the right because I didn't understand the measure in between, which is something that I dedicate myself to teaching my son.
Yes.
This is how you walk in between. You don't have to go that far,
Yeah.
and you don't have to go that far, but you can navigate right here, right? So you don't have to make the same mistakes that I
Right.
made.
That's right.
That's
That's right.
You get around the guys,
That's right.
and you got to go off the handle,
Right.
just so you can prove, hey, I'm a man,
Right.
He-Man, right? You don't have to do that. Matter of fact, you don't even have to be around those type of guys that you have to do that. But the timeline being 30 years, let's say, maybe more, and you stayed there consistently. And even when you didn't know, you were still on that timeline.
Yeah.
the God that you serve, the God
Mm-hmm.
that we believe in, right, kept you
Mm.
treading on that pathway.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And they say never meet your heroes, but
Mm.
I think maybe people have the wrong heroes.
Mm. I agree. I agree. Mm-hmm. I agree.
Yeah, you're a
Yeah.
blessing.
Oh, thank you, Joel. Thank you. You too.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Always have been. And I'm looking forward to seeing how the Lord continues to bless the Opportunity Lab and see how it's growing. And it's a beautiful place.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I
And close
appreciate
to
it.
my house.
Well, we're hoping to see you more
I know.
frequently
You
here.
never know. You just never
Yeah,
know. Yeah.
definitely, definitely. You are always welcome here.
Thank
And
you, Joel.
and wherever here is, just to be very clear, I mean here. You're
Oh,
always welcome
thank
with
you.
me.
Thank you, Joel.
Wherever I
That means a
am,
lot.
you're
Thank you so
always welcome.
much. I
Yeah,
appreciate you. Thank you, and God bless you.
thank you. Likewise, God
Thank
bless you.
you.
Before we go,
Mm-hmm.
tell people how they can get in contact with you, how they can get
Okay.
your books.
Yeah.
What's the next leadership program you have? What's your website?
Yes.
Just anything,
Sure.
everything,
Sure,
please.
sure, sure. So if you'd like to get in contact with me, I'm everywhere. I'm on LinkedIn. That's a really good place. My website is my name, which is a little unique. It's deeawnroundtree.com. That's DeeawnRoundtree.com. My books, both Leading from Within, a faith-based perspective on leadership, and my first book, which is Beyond the Boardroom, Learn How to Play and Win at the Game of Corporate Politics. They're both available on Amazon. You can also get to them through my website. If you are a faith-based leader and you're interested in learning more how I work with faith-based leaders and organizations, you can check out leadingfromwithinministries.org. I love working in the secular environment. I love it. And I also love working in the faith-based environment. If you'd like to contact me directly, my phone number is 561-323-3845. Happy to talk to you. And I look forward to hearing from you. I believe that if God leads you to contact me, then it's on purpose and it's for a purposeful reason. So
That's
God bless
beautiful.
your audience.
Thank you. That's
Mm-hmm.
beautiful.
Oh,
That doesn't
thank you.
happen all the time. The phone number part. That doesn't. But
Yeah.
I love the way that you capitalize on the end,
Mm.
your belief, behind giving the phone number.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Deeawn, once again, thank
you.
you so much for being here. To everyone, this is Dr. Deeawn Roundtree. Please reach out to her. And if you missed some of that stuff, rewind the tape, go back and look at it, or just wait. You'll be able to see it on the OLAP podcast on YouTube. And we'll see you next week, Friday, same time, same place. Peace.
Thank you.